Something huge just happened in North Gwinnett County, and if you live in the area or you're thinking about moving here, you should listen up. A brand new city has been created. It's called Mulberry, Georgia. Doesn't that sound straight out of Andy Griffith's show? But it wasn't without some serious drama. Lawsuits, controversy, and big promises. This story has it all. So today we're breaking down what this means for homeowners, future growth, and if this is actually a good thing. I'm Sarah, a realtor serving North Metro Atlanta, and I also happen to be a Mulberryan. I'm not sure if that's the name we're sticking to, but let's roll with it for now. On this channel, I share beautiful home tours, fun things to do in the Atlanta suburbs, and crazy things like new cities being formed that you need to know about. So hit subscribe and hit like on this video to show me a little love. So let's start with how the idea of Mulberry came to fruition. As someone who lives here, I'm going to give you my take. There was a proposal for a high-density apartment complex to be built in an already busy, congested area around Hamilton Mill. If you know this area, it's around the Walmart, Chick-fil-A, Chili's area at the intersection of Hamilton Mill Road and Sardis Church Road. This part of Gwinnett has no existing multifamily housing yet. When the rezoning proposal came to light, several residents pushed back hard, arguing that it would change the character of the community and increase traffic in awful ways. It also led to conversations of what can be done to stop this kind of uncontrolled growth without first addressing the infrastructure. There were also feelings that Gwinnett County was approving things for the love of money without considering how that would actually impact the citizens living there. So this sparked an even bigger conversation. What if Hamilton Mill had more local control? And that's when State House Majority Leader Chuck F. Statrin and State Senator Clint Dixon introduced a bill to create a new city. There were several community meetings leading up to it. A feasibility study was done to determine how the city could pay for itself. And eventually, the bill went to the Georgia General Assembly and they approved it. The governor also had to sign off on it, and then it was put in the hands of the local voters. The big campaign promise was no increase in property taxes, but many had and still have doubts on whether that's even possible. Nonetheless, on May 21st, 2024, the referendum was voted on and passed. Of the 41,000 residents involved, nearly 57% of those who voted said yes, but that doesn't mean it didn't come with lots of controversy. I'm not one who's active on Nextdoor, but I heard there was lots of drama there. There's also a Facebook group called Keep Mulberry Great, where you can relive some of that back and forth too, if that's your thing. Before the vote, you would see vote yes and vote no signs all over the place, at every street corner, in people's yards. It was a hot button topic, but as of January 1st, 2025, operation started and City of Mulberry was official. In regards to how idyllic the name sounds, other names proposed were Hamilton Mill, which is a big neighborhood right in the middle of this new city. However, not everyone lives in Hamilton Mill, so that didn't seem quite fair. Another proposal was Mill Creek, which is the name of a large, highly sought after high school that most of Mulberry goes to. However, not everyone is zoned for that school. So eventually they landed on the name City of Mulberry after a local park called Little Mulberry. And if you haven't gone here yet, you are missing out. Little Mulberry is gorgeous. There's a 2.2-mile loop around the lake that is so pretty during every season. It's so peaceful and well kept and literally in the middle of Mulberry, so there you have it. This area touches into several different cities: Decula, Houston, Auburn, Brazelton, Buford. Like whoever drew the city lines was just feeling really artistic that day. So now at least we have one name to call this whole area. This isn't the first time we've seen a movement like this in Georgia. Just look at Peachtree Corners, Johns Creek, and even the failed attempt for Buckhead to separate from Atlanta. Each of these cities was formed or attempted to form for similar reasons: local control, better services, and a stronger community identity. But like those cities, Mulberry's journey hasn't been smooth. Oh, the controversy. Now, you'd think forming a city would be pretty straightforward, right? Well, not in this case. Almost immediately after the vote, Gwinnett County filed a lawsuit against the newly formed city because they claimed Mulberry was illegally trying to take over land and services that were already part of Gwinnett's jurisdiction. And to make things even more heated, the county accused Mulberry's leadership of misleading voters. Yikes. This led to months of legal battles, arguments over city boundaries, and questions about whether the city should even exist. For a while, it seemed like one lawsuit would be dismissed and then the next day a new one would be filed. But as of right now, I don't think there are any additional lawsuits out in the universe. So Mulberry is here to stay. If you're a homeowner in Mulberry or thinking about buying here, this is where it gets interesting. One of the biggest concerns people had was about taxes going higher. Gwinnett County already has some of the highest property taxes in the state. And I don't know anyone who wants to willingly pay more taxes just because they now live in a city instead of unincorporated Gwinnett County. But Mulberry's officials promised that property taxes will not go up. In fact, they say that local control will actually make services more efficient. Sounds great, right? But only time will tell. In order to form a city, you have to provide certain services. Mulberry will not have their own police, fire, or garbage services. Those are outsourced to Gwinnett County. And we already know how they feel about all of this. Mulberry does handle zoning, code enforcement, and stormwater runoff services. The feasibility study that was done before the city was even voted on showed that these services will financially support the city. So what's next for Mulberry? City leaders have big plans. They want to invest in parks, improve infrastructure, and attract new businesses. And since they control their own zoning now, they can be more strategic about growth. That means we could see better planned neighborhoods, more walkable areas, and a focus on community-driven development. Again, we can look at places like Johns Creek and Peachtree Corners as examples. When they became cities, they prioritized smart development, and today they are some of the most desirable places to live in North Metro Atlanta. Will Mulberry follow the same path? That's what we'll have to watch and find out. Now let's talk real estate because that's my thing. Here's my take. Not much has changed yet. The name Mulberry is still not common in conversation except among the super loud and proud. Most everyone still calls this area Hamilton Mill or says their city name, Decula, Houston, Auburn. Home values have always been strong in this area, so if anything, I imagine that this will just protect home values. The city officials are determined to have controlled growth, not multifamily housing without first considering the increase in traffic, not bringing down home values of the established neighborhoods. The people who may not have loved the idea of Mulberry were likely either people with big acreage of land who had hoped to one day sell to a big developer, or perhaps those in the area concerned with the lack of affordable housing. And that is a very fair argument. This area typically has a home price tag of $585,000 compared with Gwinnett as a whole at $420,000. If you're looking for an area that's growing, has strong community involvement, and offers a suburban feel with local control, Mulberry could be a great move. But if you're worried about drama, or the promise of no increase in property tax, if that will actually hold up, you might want to search out other areas with lower taxes. The good news is home values here could rise if Mulberry thrives. But as always, real estate is local, so let's chat if you're considering making a move. All of that to say, Mulberry is officially on the map, and whether you love it or hate it, this new city is here to stay. The next few years will be crucial in shaping its success. So what do you think? Is Mulberry a smart move or a risky bet? Let me know in the comments. And if you're thinking about buying or selling in Mulberry or Gwinnett, or really anywhere in the North Atlanta suburbs, reach out. I'd love to help you make the best decision for your future. You can also grab a copy of my free download, all about living in the North Atlanta suburbs. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss my next update.